quality, luxury, and craft.
I would describe 60 Curzon as elegant, Art Deco, and unique.
60 Curzon Street shows the level of ambition, but also shows the level of quality that can be achieved when people focus on creating such a special and unique building. Mayfair, this is a building that specifically can be no place other than where it is, which is in Mayfair.
You have the most Michelin-star restaurants. You have the finest high-end fashion and retail in Mayfair.
You have Green Park, you have Hyde Park just around the corner. You also have all exclusive private members clubs.
You have the best of everything on your doorstep by living in Mayfair.
I think everybody in the world that identifies a particular place with luxury and with quality on the tip of their tongue would be Mayfair. And that's sort of the context in which we started to develop the narrative for this building. When we started to articulate a vision for this project, the first thing we did was we identified an ambition to create a contemporary luxury mansion house within the context of Mayfair. The tradition of urban living in a luxury setting, we kind of felt had been lost. That level of ambition and that benchmark that was set by the client for the design team is not that often easily achieved. It requires a lot of careful thought during the design process. It requires a very, very deep understanding of how one can design and create and build something like this. And then it requires the collaboration of many, many people and many, many craftsmen. I often would equate it to the making of a fine watch, for example, or a fine car, where you pre-design and pre-engineer and pre-build a lot of very, very beautiful components. And then you put them all together and assemble them in a very, very careful way. And when they're finished, they function as a unique and timeless piece of craftsmanship that people want to own and people want to have as part of their lifestyle.
So for me, what really makes 60 Curzon stand out is the pure craft and detail here. Coming from the hand-cut Portland stone outside to the finer details inside all of the apartments.
It's not just a luxury residential building. The level of craftsmanship is unique. It is meticulously crafted. Every design, every element of the building is bespoke and highest quality, and it matches the highest standards of luxury living in Mayfair.
We have a very strong interest in materiality in our buildings. To create a building that has a high level of visual interest, like 60 Curzon Street does, it requires an understanding of how light and shadow will work on the building and how the combination of the two will create a building that has a level of differing experiences to the passerby and to the viewer from the daytime to the nighttime.
You know, the attention to detail, the craftsmanship they put into the building, you can clearly see that. They've used some very bespoke materials throughout the development.
My favorite feature of this building is the external facade, which makes this building look stunning from outside. From the first time you see, you just fall in love with this building. You see something different at a unique location, and in my opinion, this is the best feature of 60 Curzon.
The facade of this building is very, very unique. The stonework, we selected Portland stone because it has a nice historic relationship with the context of where it is. And I think when you look at it from a distance, you begin to recognize it has a very, very special quality. But when you get close up to it, it starts to unravel and unveil this sense of quality and craftsmanship, and it feels like it belongs in this very, very special place. And that facade combines very, very strong elements of craft in its bronze metalwork, which is very, very beautiful, and in its embellishment of other materials, such as the beautiful handmade terracotta that lines the building and that you can see. When we started to think about what that internal world would be like, we started to create a narrative around it being a very, very tranquil, a very, very quiet place, and a very, very beautiful place for people to be, but also something different for people to look at. If you look at the building, there are townhouses, there are flats, there's two wonderful penthouse units. And when you come into the building, it's welcoming, it feels safe, it feels secure. The entrance is sort of intentionally very, very discreet, so that one enters through an entrance and then you open up into a wonderful space that was designed by Thierry W to reflect the sort of architectural character that we had established. And from that point on, the building unfolds into a variety of different types of spaces. There's wonderful views into the garden, wonderful connections into the garden. And there are a series of wonderful amenity spaces that have been designed to cater to the lifestyle of the residents within the building.
It's a nice, homely feeling as you enter. Then you can go downstairs to the amenities, where we have a 20-meter pool, spa. We also have our steam room, sauna, vitality pool, gymnasium. We have club lounge, underground secure valet parking.
The building's designed to cater to the lifestyle of the resident. So if I'm a resident, or if I'm a guest of a resident, I arrive through a beautiful entrance. I'm greeted there with a wonderful experience from a concierge. I'm escorted up into my residence, and that all happens seamlessly and discreetly. At the same time, if I'm arriving to deliver a package or I'm delivering the groceries, I enter the building through a separate entrance, come completely into the apartment through a separate set of elevators, a separate door, front door versus the back door, and I go about my business seamlessly without interfering with the choreography of the resident.
You'll often see this through the kitchens. They're hidden away nice and smoothly into the design. You can open a cupboard in the kitchen, and it's actually a door that leads through to the service lift, so that if you're having catering, for example, if you're hosting a party, they can come up through that way into your kitchen, and it's really nice and seamless.
So these two things can happen simultaneously, they can happen together, but they never come in conflict with each other. And this is something we felt had been lost in high-end luxury residential living, not just in London, but in many, many places in the world. And 60 Curzon Street brings that narrative back again.
So I think what's really unique about 60 Curzon is to be in the heart of Mayfair with the bustling shops and all the restaurants, to then come into a development that is so calm and tranquil. You feel like it's a home as well as a haven.
We had two goals here that we set out to achieve. The first one was to make a building that sat appropriately in this historic context in Mayfair. And the second goal that we had was to make sure that this building was fit for purpose. And its purpose was to define ultra-luxury living for a small set of people who were fortunate enough to live here and to own one of these apartments, and to make sure that that could happen. And that happened through a sense of quality, through a sense of detailing, through the creation of a layout that facilitates a form of a lifestyle, through the introduction of amenity, through the introduction of light, shadow, and proportion, and this creation of a wonderful sort of inner world or a private world that people have a sense of belonging to. I think this building actually creates a definition for contemporary luxury living in Mayfair. People talk about it redefining it. We like to think that it actually has defined it and that it will set a new benchmark for buildings of this type to come in the future.
It's an iconic, unique Art Deco style building. There's nothing else like it in Mayfair, and I think that will stand the test of time.